Okay, now that you have the towel pieces cut for the inside of the pads and the flannel fabric for the outside, we're going to take one of the pieces and lay the wrong side facing up and then put 2 to 3 pieces of the towel on top, depending on the thickness of the towels. You don't want it too thick to sew, but you want it where it's going to work. So I have the sewing machine set on a loose zigzag stitch. So we're going to come down the center and then sew around the sides to secure. No need to pin or anything. This is a very, very forgiving project. So let's sew that down and attach it. And I just come to the end and then go all the way around the outside of that towel insert. This little piece of string cut, there we go. And no need to back stitch any of this because we will end up going back over it again. So just cut that. Okay, now we're going to lay that face down and put the right sides together on this. We're going to sew all the way around the outside and leave an opening on the straight part. You don't really want to leave openings on curves if you don't have to, because it just makes it more difficult to after you turn it and then to close that back up. So I'm going to start here, right at the base. I'm going to come in close on the ends, then go out on the sides, come back close to the end, far back out, and you will see as I sew this. So I'm going to start here. I do back stitch this. Okay, so I come in close around this end of the pads, but then I go out all the way to the edge on the wing part. Again, no need to pin. Come back in, close end, close to the ends, back out to the edge on the wing part. And as I come around this last corner, I'm going to back stitch. This is the area that I want to leave so that I can turn the pad. So I have it sewn here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take through that opening and turn it right side out. And then I will just finger press all of this out, pushing out all those seams like that. You can press this if you want to at this point, just to make it lay a little bit flatter. You can tell whether you need to do that or not. Feel free to press it with the iron. So here's what I'm going to do now. Again, I'm going to take this part that we left open and just kind of turn it under. Again, we don't have to be exact here. I'm going to start here and then stitch all the way around the entire outside of the pad and get as close to the edge as I can. Sorry, I have a cat in the background wanting to get out. He's making an awful noise. So slowly come around here, and once you get back to where you started, back stitch that. We'll trim all these loose strings at the end. Okay, so now I have it sealed and closed. If something happens and it didn't quite close correctly, you can go back over that. But again, this is forgiving. We're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for purpose. As you can see now though, what this is going to do is come apart like that, and we don't want that. So what you want to do now is stitch right back over those stitches that were made when we sewed the towel to the pad. So go real quickly, big loose zigzag all the way around, back over those stitches that we did the first time. Again, if it's not exactly over them, it doesn't matter. And back stitch at the end. Okay, here's where some people do it differently than others. This side looks better, so what I'm going to do is fold the wings in. Some people stop at this point here and then make sure there's enough room for it to overlap and put the snaps here. You can use a hand press snap. The plastic snaps are what we would recommend. Cam Snaps has a presser that I would recommend investing in if you're going to make a lot of these. It's well worth the time that it saves and your hands. That's what we use. We've actually have 2 of those now. But what I like to do is, instead of just leaving that loose, I like to just quickly come stitch right back over this side here to hold that down. You don't have to do that, but I just kind of like to do that. So back stitch that really quickly and come down that side. And then go down the other side. Again, you want to make sure that there's enough overlap to leave room for the snaps, and there it is on this one. And like I said, as you can see, it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. We're going for function and usefulness. These pads change lives of the girls and women in Kenya. Girls can't go to school that time of the month. They end up missing so many days, they'll end up failing a grade or even dropping out of school altogether. Women can't go to work, all over something that we take for granted and just drop in any store and pick up. So I would just trim these strings, and now this is just ready for the snaps to be put on, whichever method of putting on the plastic snaps that you prefer. Thank you so much. And if anyone in your ladies group likes to crochet, we have a pattern for these gospel frisbees that are wonderful, because most of the children in Kenya or any of these countries, if you're going to a different, third world country, they have no toys. And these are a great thing. We took these last year when we went, and the kids absolutely love them. They do fly, believe it or not. And it's also a great way to share the gospel with everyone. And it's a great leave behind and easy to pack and take with you, and very light, especially if you put them in space bags, which is what I recommend when we take these. We use space bags to get the maximum number in a suitcase that we can get. We would love it if your group would help us and start sewing. And it would even be more helpful to us if you would ship directly to our pastor there in Kenya that we work with, because shipping money, the money for shipping is our biggest expense, and it's hard to come up with that. So contact us if you want any additional information on patterns, the templates, or how you can help or how you can sponsor suitcases or boxes that we ship. We would love for you to help us. You can email us at hymnsofgrace, and that's HEMS of Grace @gmail.com, or Hymns of Grace Ministry. We have a great Facebook page, and we post tons of pictures out there, and you can follow along with what we do over there. We do many other things besides this. We provide Bibles and reading glasses, school supplies, clothing, shoes, etc. Thank you again so much.